I've been absolutely clear with President Putin. He has no misunderstanding. If any assembled Russian units move across the Ukrainian border, that is an invasion. But it will be met with severe and coordinated economic response that I've discussed in detail with our allies, as well as laid out very clearly for President Putin.
President Biden today clarifying comments he made yesterday during his news conference, this after a chorus of criticism rained down on him for suggesting that the U.S. had a sliding scale of sorts when it comes to responding to a Russian invasion of Ukraine. This is yesterday.
Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, et cetera. But if they actually do what they're
clearly miffed, Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky had tweeted that, quote, there are no such things as minor incursions when it comes to invasions of the country. The brewing tensions have gotten the notice of the business world, particularly the U.S. aluminum industry's biggest player. During his conference call post-earnings blowout, great numbers, Alcoa's CEO warned that any act of aggression by Russia, the world's second largest producer, could impact supply. Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive for his first broadcast interview, Alcoa President and CEO Roy Harvey. Roy, first of all, congratulations on earnings, which completely smashed estimates. What hoisted your profits so much higher than what the street had expected?
You know, Liz, I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk about Alcoa. You know, we've been working across the board to try and transform this company. 5 years ago, we separated into the standalone company we are today. And really, a lot of what happened has culminated in what was a very strong year. And so when you think about the strength in the balance sheet and our ability to be able to lower net debt, announce our first dividend ever, you know, it just demonstrates the strength that we have today and the strength that we're trying to drive for the future. You know, also, and when we think about where we find ourselves today, aluminum, infinitely recyclable, lightweight, it is absolutely part of today's story as the world becomes greener, but more importantly for the future. And so when we talk about our fourth quarter results, our 2021 results, of course, part of that is this technology roadmap that we're building in order to decarbonize from bauxite to aluminum into aluminum. And one final point I'd put into it is that we're also seeing these structural shifts in aluminum. This drive towards renewable energy, this demand strength across every one of our end sectors, it means that we're seeing an uplift in aluminum pricing. And that in the end is great for Alcoa because it allows us to be even more quicker at fixing our portfolio and driving a future.
This is what I want our investor audience to understand, is that this is not their grandfather's Alcoa. I mean, this is a company with such an incredible history, but you have really, we've been watching, and you have taken it much more into the new millennium and really making the sustainability aspect of it, but always paired with the business possibilities and the profitability from those options, as well as the electric vehicle option too, which I really want to get into in a second. But if you talk about your guidance for Q1, you said it was similar to what you just came out of, Q4, based on current pricing. But of course, we all know there's absolutely no guarantee that prices will remain static. And already they're up significantly. You know, and what you also referenced was that this simmering tension between Russia and Ukraine could actually affect the price of aluminum. How so? How do you model for something like that?
So it's one of the joys of being a commodity player is that you have a very different day that presents itself every morning when you get out of bed. And that can be on the demand side, it can be on the supply side, on pricing. For us, as we look towards Q1, there are cost inflation pressures when you look at energy, raw materials that we use, all very important. But we also have a lot of really great strength inside of our premium structure, product premiums, Midwest premiums that are regional based. And so all of this helps to support this expectation that we can do just as good in Q1 as we did in Q4. With some of the uncertainties that are happening, and Ukraine is one of them, but COVID as well is also part of that, our job is to make sure that we're making our portfolio cycle-proof so that we can be successful no matter what happens, and to be fleet of foot. A lot of what we've tried to do for Alcoa is become faster at making decisions, become a lot simpler, and just try and build value for our stockholders and for our communities with every single decision that we make.
And you've definitely done that. And today alone on the news, your stock's getting a bump of more than 4%. But when you talk about pricing, I know you guys make predictions in anticipation for prices of aluminum and bauxite and all the other things, alumina, everything that you mine. Tell me what your price prediction is for aluminum, whether it's 6 months out or a year.
We don't specifically make a price forecast that we release. What we try and do is look at what are the fundamentals in supply and demand and then project that forward. And so from a demand side, like I said, 2022 should be even better than what we saw in 2021, which was a recovery already from 2019. So demand very strong. Supply, it's becoming even more challenging in order to bring on that next tranche of production because you need access to renewables, you need to make the agreements with your communities. So it's simply more difficult to bring that new supply on, which means that the supply-demand fundamentals are very good. And it's what drives us to say, hey, when we look out 6 months, a year, or even longer, we expect this cycle to be stronger and to last longer.
Okay, I got to end really quickly, but I do want to bring up the fact that you guys are part of a deal with Audi to sell the wheels, or at least the material aluminum for wheels, on the Audi e-tron electric sports car. How big could the EV world be for Alcoa in the coming years?
You know, EV is just the beginning of the story. Our consumers across the board are looking at how to decarbonize their supply chains and how to make sure that they have the right connections and stakeholder views in everything that's happening across from bauxite to aluminum. So electric transportation, electric vehicles, very important because it uses more aluminum and it's absolutely necessary in order to lightweight. But when you also take that into building and construction, and when you think about how we're going to decarbonize that entire value chain, and Alcoa goes all the way from the mine down to that first set of products, we're working on every single one of those pieces. You know, we have this joint venture which will create the first zero carbon direct emissions production of aluminum. We call it ELYSIS. Wow. That's the type of stuff that we need to really make a difference and to then offer these products for consumers.
Gotcha. Roy, it is great to have you. I'm looking at the stock up 161% over just the past year. Great to have you on. Please tell us the Alcoa story as the months go by. Roy Harvey.